Hey everyone. So just tightening up and having the parts move very quickly to the factory, put it in a car, get it to a customer, makes a massive difference to cash flow generation. I mean, that's why it's extremely important to have a factory in each continent. Because if you don't at least have a factory in the continent, it is impossible to achieve this. Tesla core competencies, we've got engineering, obviously. We're also manufacturing. I think manufacturing is underappreciated in general. We've given this a lot of thought over many years to say, okay, how can we radically improve the cost per kilowatt hour curve? So
I mean, early growth was promising, but you can see we're kind of plateauing. So that's what's motivating us to rethink how cells are produced and designed.
Tesla Throwback Thursday. Today we take a look at the 2020 annual shareholder meeting, but more importantly, Battery Day. This will be a hypercut of all the pertinent information, so without further ado, let's get to it.
Hey everyone. Well, I mean, this is definitely a new approach. We got the Tesla drive-in movie theater, basically. I think it's been an incredible year. I'd like to thank you for your support through tough times, good times. It's been great. Really appreciate everyone who's put their hard-earned money into Tesla. I'll go through the shareholder presentation, I think, fairly quickly because the sort of real main event here is Battery Day. Going through a recap of what's happened over the past year or so. In terms of our ability to create a factory, huge kudos to the Tesla Shanghai team for being able to go from literally a dirt pile to volume production in 15 months.
Damn! That's a quick turnaround from a dirt pile to volume production. It is of no wonder that Shanghai has been the fulcrum of Tesla's success up to this point. Maybe it's my Lone Star pride talking, but I have a feeling the Austin plant will take that mantle by the end of the decade.
Tesla is the only foreign manufacturer to have a 100% owned factory in China. We wouldn't have the results that we have had this year without the great efforts of the Tesla China team, so I'm super appreciative of that. We'll see the Shanghai factory continue to scale quite a bit from where it is right now. I think we really could expect that to be, over time, a factory that produces over 1 million vehicles a year. We also reached, in the past year, volume production of the Model Y, and this was the smoothest launch that we've ever had. So I think we're definitely getting better at new vehicle launches and building factories and scaling production. As you've heard me say before, the hardest thing is scaling production, especially of a new technology. It's insanely difficult. Making a prototype is relatively easy. And if I think like what is the real achievement of Tesla in sort of car company terms, it's like it wasn't making sort of exciting prototypes. It was that Tesla was really the first company in about a century in the US, the first US company in the US to reach volume production and be sustainably profitable. And we now have 4 vehicles in volume production, S3XY. We also introduced the lowest cost solar in the US. It's only $1.49 a watt. And we really just simplified the whole value chain. So reduced sales and advertising, got rid of a bunch of unnecessary costs, and really are just relying upon the fact that it's just the lowest cost, most efficient solar in the US. Providing both retrofit and the solar glass roof.
In addition to taking delivery of my vehicle right around this time, 6 months later, I too opted for solar panels on my existing roof. How I wish I would have just knocked off the roof and got solar roof at that time. You live, you learn, you get loves. Wait.
We also got 4 consecutive quarters of GAAP profitability, which was very difficult. Yeah, the future is looking like I think very promising from sort of an annual profitability standpoint. You really need economies of scale, and you need ideally the best technology. And I think we've had the best technology for a while, but now we are also achieving economies of scale, and we're also rapidly improving autonomy, which is a massive value add to each car. Total vehicles produced times the value of autonomy. That's a way to think about the future value of Tesla.
What? Autopilot at $6,000, FSD beta roughly around $12,000. These features are on an incredible discount Why, you ask? Because Tesla needs people to use the products. The more miles driven, the closer FSD beta becomes to just being FSD. Should they even come close? You're looking at a grand opportunity there.
Have consistent free cash flow generation. This is really important for growth. A key element here is tightening up the time from when a car is ordered to when it is built and delivered. So just tightening up and having the parts move very quickly to the factory, put it in a car, get it to a customer, makes a massive difference to cash flow generation. I mean, that's why it's extremely important to have a factory in each continent. Because if you don't at least have a factory in the continent, it is impossible to achieve this. That's also why it's important to have Giga Berlin complete, because then we'll have a factory in China, a factory in the U.S., and soon a second factory in the U.S. in Austin, and a factory in Europe. For Giga Texas in Austin, even if we had exactly the same cost as in California, it would still be advantageous to do it there because it's roughly 2/3 of the way across the U.S. So in terms of delivering cars to the central U.S. and to the East Coast, it's just faster, costs less, fundamentally improves our economics. So I think this is also maybe something that's not fully appreciated of just how important it is to have a factory at least on the continent or reasonably close to where the end customers is. So you can tighten that whole chain. While the rest of industry has gone down, Tesla has gone up. I'd like to thank all the customers for taking a chance on Tesla and buying our product, and really hope you're enjoying it. Our sales, as Al was saying, really grow by word of mouth. You know, it's very pure in the sense that it's growing on the basis of existing owners recommending it to new customers. This is really, I think, a good way to grow. And then in 2019, we had 50% growth. Pandemic, wildfires, is like a whole bunch of difficult production issues. Thanks to the hard work of the Tesla team and a lot of innovative approaches to overcoming issues, we're able to still see significant growth in one of the most difficult, in fact, I'd say probably the most difficult year of Tesla's existence. And we also published our extended impact report. We always try to do the right thing as to the best of our ability. Published the extended impact report to show, just a sort of a self-examination of, okay, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What can we do better in the future? It's worth looking at like the average life cycle emissions in the U.S. And just how much better a Tesla is or an electric car than any other than any kind of gasoline car. We'll talk about in the battery day is also just how much the grids around the world and actually, especially in the U.S., are greening. It's actually much faster than I think people realize. The U.S. is moving towards sustainable energy. And so as we move more and more to sustainable energy, then effectively you end up building the solar factories and the car factories themselves with solar. You'll even mine with sustainable energy, and eventually it will get to an effective emissions of zero. We also have safety at the core of our design. The Tesla cars are the safest cars ever designed. We have the lowest probability of injury of any cars ever tested by the U.S. government, and that's just passive safety. When you add active safety into that, it's even better. If safety is important to you, which obviously it is, the safest car you could drive is a Tesla. Safety is paramount. It is actually the #1 design objective when we build a Tesla is safety. Our factories are also becoming safer, and if you look at the sort of accidents per total vehicle made, it's dramatically better than in the past. Already better than industry average, and we're confident we can get it to the best in the auto industry. Autopilot functionality continues to improve. You see it in the safety report that we publish every quarter. The U.S. average for collisions is at roughly 2.1 per million miles, and with autopilot engaged, it's 0.3. And this will get even better. That's just a lot of lives saved and a lot of injuries avoided. I think it's kind of hard for people to judge the progress of autopilot. I'm driving, as a matter of course, I've always done this. I drive the bleeding edge alpha build of autopilot. So I sort of have insight into what is going on. Previously, about a couple of years ago, we were kind of stuck in a local maximum. So we were improving, but like the improvements kind of started tailing off and just not getting where they needed to be. So getting trapped in a local maximum. We had to do a fundamental rewrite of the entire autopilot software stack and all of the labeling software as well. It's now taking all cameras simultaneously and looking at how the images change over time and labeling that the sophistication of the neural nets in the car and the overall logic in the car has improved dramatically. The magnitude of the change is profound.
Getting trapped in a local maximum is never good. First, you gotta recognize that you're stuck in a spot that isn't good enough. Then you have to overcome your own ego, that hubris that you're on the right path, maybe you're not, and come at it from a purely objective view. How do we solve this particular problem? Now, I'm sure working with Elon is no picnic, especially when you're talking about the autopilot and FSD software. But if you're going through hell, you just keep going. The end reward will be nothing short of a Nobel Peace Prize once they solved for general autonomy.
But because we had to rewrite everything, labeling software, just the entire code base, it took us quite a while, and the sort of new sort of, I call it like 4D in the sense that it's 3 dimensions plus time. Tesla core competencies, we've got engineering, obviously. We're also manufacturing. I think manufacturing is underappreciated in general. The difficulty of designing the machine that makes the machine is vastly harder than the machine itself. Making a Model 3 or Model Y or Cybertruck prototype is really quite trivial compared to designing the factory that makes it. Especially if it's new technology and you want to use new manufacturing methods, at least 10 to 100 times harder to do the factory than the prototype. And that's why you see a lot of companies out there or startups, they'll bring out a prototype, but they just can't get it over the hump for manufacturing. Because manufacturing of new technology especially is the hardest thing by far. And then software. Tesla is both a hardware and a software company. A huge percentage of our engineers are actually software engineers. And you can think of our car as kind of like a laptop on wheels. And so not just in the car, but also in the factory. These are fundamental. These are the 3 critical areas that are needed to make for an awesome company.
Those 3 metrics are why I'm all in on this company. They have the best engineers, the machine that builds the machine, most efficient in the world. And the software rivals that of Apple or any other software company in the world. This is not your daddy's automotive manufacturer.
Now, we'll soon have 3 new factories, incremental, we have one already, on 3 different continents. Shanghai, we're expanding to Shanghai with the second phase. Berlin is making rapid progress, and Texas is making even faster progress. So with each factory, what we're trying to do is also improve the manufacturing technology. So it's, in some cases, like the Model Y made in Berlin might look the same, but it actually is made in a much more efficient way. Yeah, launched Megapack. It's 3 megawatt hours all-in-one energy storage solution.
I'm Drew Baglino, SVP of Powertrain and Energy Engineering at Tesla, and I'm incredibly excited to talk about what we've been doing at batteries here at Tesla.
So obviously the issues we're facing are very serious, with climate change, and we're experiencing these issues on a day-to-day basis. It's incredibly important we accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. The presentation is about accelerating the time to sustainable energy. It's really important that we take action. Running this climate experiment is insane.
Especially when it's just a transitory one anyway.
Yes.
We're going to run out of these fossil fuels. Let's just move to the future and not run this experiment any longer.
Yeah. There is a lot of good news, though. Wind and solar comprise 75% of new electricity capacity in the U.S. this year. The grid is going sustainable very, very quickly. In the past 10 years, power production from coal has dropped in half. So it went from 46% of electricity in 2010 to 23% in 2020. So this is a massive improvement. So good things are happening on a lot of levels. We just need to go faster. We've delivered over 1 million electric vehicles, 26 billion electric miles driven, 20 gigawatt hours of stationary batteries, 17 terawatt hours of solar generated. I think solar is sometimes underweighted at Tesla, but it is a massive part of our future.
He ain't kidding, folks. The solar part is a little bit underrated, but it's growing rapidly. By the end of the decade, solar generation and energy storage is going to be a massive part of the Tesla story.
We intend to play a significant role in all 3. To accelerate the transition to sustainable energy, we must produce more EVs that need to be affordable and a lot more energy storage while building factories faster and with far less investment. Goal number 1 is a terawatt-hour scale battery production. Tera is the new giga. A terawatt is 1,000 times more than a gigawatt. This is what's needed in order to transition the world to sustainability.
We're talking about 100x growth in batteries for electric vehicles to achieve this mission.
Excuse me? What'd you say?
We're talking about 100x growth in batteries for electric vehicles to achieve this mission. And we are going to get there. It's just a matter of how fast, and our intention is to accelerate it.
You basically need on the order of roughly 10 terawatt hours a year of battery production to transition the global fleet of vehicles to electric.
The average vehicle lasts 15 years, so we're talking about 150 terawatt hours, give or take, to transition the whole all vehicles of all types to electric.
It's a lot of batteries, basically.
And then on the grid side, we have a similar mountain to climb, 1,600 times growth from today's grid batteries to go 100% renewable on the grid and to take all of the existing heating fossil fuel uses in homes and businesses 100% electric.
That's what they mean when they say that solar and energy storage is going to be a major part of the Tesla business model. 1,600 times is what's necessary to make this transition. The transition is inevitable. Who will reap the spoils will be the companies that are at least aware of the situation and have the means to take advantage of it. You're speaking my language, cash register. You're speaking my language.
And this number, I think, might grow even more. As the world economy matures and as countries with high populations industrialize, we could see this number be even more. But let's say it's like roughly 20 to 25 terawatt hours per year, sustained for 15 to 25 years to transition the world to renewable. This is a lot.
Yeah.
So today's batteries can't scale fast enough. They're just too small. For Giga Nevada, 150 gigawatt hours per year is like what we probably expect to make out of there. But this is really pretty small in the grand scheme of things. That's only 0.15 terawatt hours. So
We would need 135 fully built out Nevada gigafactories to achieve 20 terawatt hours a year. It's not scalable enough of a solution. We need a dramatic rethink of the cell manufacturing system to scale as fast as we can and should.
it's more than just a question of money. Money is sort of like an ethereal thing, but it's really the amount of effort. You have a certain amount of effort, in terms of people and machines, and depending on how efficient that effort is, for a given amount of effort, you want the most amount of batteries. And then goal two, obviously, we need to make more affordable cars. In order to do that, we've got to get the cost of batteries down. We've got to and we've got to be better at manufacturing, and we need to do something about this curve. The curve of the cost per kilowatt hour of batteries is not improving fast enough. We've given this a lot of thought over many years to say, okay, how can we radically improve the cost per kilowatt hour curve? So
early growth was promising, but you can see we're kind of plateauing. So that's what's motivating us to rethink how cells are produced and designed.
These are the leaders in battery electric vehicles. The leaders. There's no resting on our laurels. We make the most profit from these vehicles, but we know we could be doing better. This is 2020, folks. This level of conviction, disrupt yourself or somebody else will be happy to do it. This is why I'm all in on this company.
EV market share is growing, but EVs, still aren't accessible to all. The rate of improvement of the affordability of cars is just not fast enough. That's why we got Battery Day.
Yeah. To make the best cars in the world, we design vehicles and factories from the ground up. And now we do this for batteries as well. So let's get started. We have a plan to halve the cost per kilowatt hour.
Half, you say?
And it's not a plan that rests on a single innovation, some research project that'll never see the light of day. It's a plan that has taken creative engineering and industrialization across every facet of what makes a cell into a battery pack, from raw material to the finished thing. And we're going to go through that plan with you today, step by step, and build up how we get to these goals and how we accelerate this transition and make our vehicles and our grid batteries more affordable.
Basically, we thought through every element of the battery, well, almost every element. There are a few more elements that we won't get to today, but we will get to in the future.
Well, class, I hate to leave you on a cliffhanger, but I think we're going to break it up right here. We're going to save the meat and potatoes of this presentation for next Thursday. My office hours are in the comments below. That's all I have for you today. Be easy. Peace.